Hey there, and welcome back to this third video in my July product class featuring the colour and contour stamp set and matching dies. As I say, this is our third card for today. It's really quite a sweet one, I think. A little bit unusual with its colours, or at least for me. The card base is garden green and the layer is pool party. So it just gives that nice little contrast of blue and green, which, as you know, probably by now well and truly are two of my favourite colours. I love them together as well. It's actually an easel card, so it opens up like that. When it's on display, sits like that. So with all easel cards, you have a little foot there that the card rests on, and it sort of sits up like that, with that sort of look on the side. There's several sorts of obviously easel cards you can make, but I'll try and stick to this one here. I got terribly confused with another video I did recently where I started making, had plans to make one sort of easel card and ended up making another one before I even knew what I was doing. So hopefully this time I will actually stick to the plan, stick to the script. So let's have a look at our card kits. I'll just refer back to that original often to make sure I'm headed in the right direction. There's a fair bit to this one, to make sure when you get it out of the pack that things don't go everywhere. And there's a couple of alternate finishes for it, which I'll explain to you as we get to the end of the card. So just don't go leaping too far ahead if you're going sort of crafting along with the video. Just might be an idea to watch this one and come back to do the card in the end. Anyway, what you've got here is an 8 by 5 3/4 card base. It's scored at 4 inches and at 2 inches. So you've got 2 inches here between these two layers here, and that's what forms your easel base there. Okay, and you've got various layers of beautiful designer series paper and pool party, and then you've got the focus of our easel is this lovely die cut from the scalloped contoured die set. This is like the largest sort of layer that it has in there, and it's got a lovely sort of scalloped edge, which I've used this one a lot. I really, really like it. So that's going to sit up like that as our sort of main focus for our stamp, for our card. Then you've got a couple of the smaller layers from the same scalloped contours stamp set. This bottom one's going to be used to create our foot, and this is our little sentiment one for the front facing panel. We might as well get creating just before I get confused and end up using the wrong panels. We'll get rid of some of them, put them in, attach them so that they're out of the way. So you do have a large panel of pool party and a matching panel of, well, slightly smaller panel of cards, designer series paper. And keep in mind this one also has an up and down, so put it sort of so that the leaves, the stems are sort of headed up that way, and that's going to go onto the base of our card here. So the bit that sits on the ground, on the base, sits on the table facing up, is where this large panel goes. So we'll just layer it up with our, and that's the one that doesn't work. There's plenty of glue in there, I can feel it, but it just won't come out. Okay, so we're going to layer up our cardstock, our pool party first. This one might come out too. Here we come. Onto the base there. Just like that. And then our cardstock or designer series paper goes straight on top of that. Okay, so that's where our foot, our little foot, is going to sit on there. I've actually got two layers for our little foot. It's going to sit down there. Okay, so another front-facing panel that we need to decorate is this one. So if you fold it like this, that's where how our easel's going to sit up. It's this front-facing one here is the other one that we have to put, excuse me, cardstock onto. So we've got a long, narrow strip of pool party. That's going to go on there. So it's basically the front, the lower half of that card front, if you can see there. So that's sort of like, in card terms, I suppose that's the inside, and this is the front half, the bottom half of the outside. And then what I'm going to do is, as much as I love that side, I'm going to actually have a bit of contrast happening and have that green, that garden green floral pattern on the outside of this one. So I'll put some glue on there and put that one there. Okay. So that's what we've got decorated now. Just the full panel inside, and then that front facing one there. Okay, cool. We might pop that aside for the moment just till it dries, and we'll bring in our scalloped edged panel. So you've got another smaller panel of pool party, which is going to sit in the middle of our scalloped rectangle. Just like that. Okay, and then a panel of whisper white, which will sit, basic white, which will sit on top of that. So we glue that one as well. Okay, so we've got that there. It's just a tiny little layer of the pool party between the two. Okay, so what we can do then is bring back our card base, and this little panel here is just going to sit on that sort of the one we decorated, the front half of that one. It's going to sit there. So obviously you only need glue on the bottom half of that. Obviously you don't need glue here, you need it on this part here. Okay, so just pop some glue on the bottom 1/3 of your scalloped rectangle. Line it up with the edges and the side and make sure it's straight. So line it up all the way around and just firm that down. Okay, so that should just pop up like that. There we are. And we haven't got any glue oozing out the back, which is good, which is we don't want that. We don't want it oozing up into here. I might actually just score that a little bit with my bone folder. Just like that. Okay. So that's pretty much a basic sort of easel card happening there. Okay, what we'll do now is we might just attach, so the larger of the two white rectangles you have, pop it onto, oh man, damn, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Roll that back, don't do that, because I'm doing an alternate way, which I wanted to show you. Okay, just got rid of that, don't worry, just leave that aside. Rewind, rewind, rewind. Okay, so what we might do now is do our decorations. We'll bring our little flowers in. So what you've got in your pack is enough cardstock to make 2 of those little flowers. So it's going to get merged in with the ones I've done before. 2 of those little flowers. So I've already stamped and cut those, die cut those out. So if you bought the dies, or you have the dies at home, basically just stamp them in black, die cut them out, and then we'll colour them. We can colour them first, but anyway. You also may, if you bought the bundle, or you have the bundle, you'll have enough cardstock to also make 3 of the little daisies as well. Now, if you bought just the stamp set and you don't have the dies, you may have 3 of these or a couple of these left from the previous card we did with the 8 of them. There were some spares in there, so keep those for this particular card. You don't need them, they're just a little bit of an extra that might be nice later on. But all you do actually need are these 2 here. So I'm going to colour these in with the infill stamp. And I've got Pool Party for one of them because that's the contrast colour. You could use any colour that you like. Take it from sort of the green from the paper that you've been given. But I'm going to use the Pool Party here because it's one of my faves. So we've got Pool Party on that one. And I've got the beautiful sort of terracotta-y looking colour that's in the Designer Series paper, this one where the flowers are. That's actually a colour called Cinnamon Cider. So I'm going to use that for the other flower, just to bring that out, that colour out of the, highlight it from the paper. It's quite a dark colour, but I think I quite like it. There we are. You might even like to stamp that off once if that's a little bit dark for you. It will dry a little bit lighter, but it's pretty dark. Okay, so there we go. So there's our 2 flowers. What we might do as well is stamp the sentiment on our little smaller sentiment box. And I'm going to use the You're Absolutely Amazing from the stamp set. And just stamp that on in white, on the white one in black. And we're just about ready to decorate. So bring your card back in. We're going to glue the 2 flowers just into like a little posy on the front over to the left-hand side. So I'm just going to glue them there. And then bring the sentiment in to the right-hand side of those with some dimensionals. Okay, so we'll just glue them first. My glues have all given up the ghost today. Okay, how's this one? That's better. Just cross those over, just so they look like a little bouquet of flowers almost. Okay, just like that. Then we're going to get some dimensionals for our little sentiment box. And pop that to the right hand side of that. Sort of overlapping them a tiny bit, but not a lot. There we are. Okay, isn't that sweet? I love that. I love those sentiment boxes. They just go so well together. They sort of match. Okay, so then you will have a little piece of ribbon. Now this is actually another retired ribbon that I had here. It's actually from last year's In Colours. This is actually the Just Jade ribbon, but I think it goes really nicely with the Pool Party. So what you need to do is just make a little bow from that. Just a little one. Maybe trim it off a bit. Okay, grab a glue dot or some glue, whichever you use for your bows. Just going to grab a glue dot and pop it just there where those little flowers sort of where they cross over, like they're little. This is the little bow that's holding them together, sort of thing. Not too low, or you can go really low, but you do cover over your sentiment a little bit. So maybe bring it up a little bit higher, just so it doesn't cover over the sentiment so much. There we are. I'm going to trim that off. There we are. Okay, so that's quite sweet. I like that one. We've got some rhinestones as well, which I'll bring in a second. Now we're going to do this foot part. So if you have the spares or you have the cardstock to do the extra little daisies, if you've kept them from the first card or you've got enough cardstock to do them, you can actually sort of stamp them in black and then colour them with the blue. Like I've used the pool party here as well, or the green, whichever of the colours you like. So stamp them and actually use them as your foot base, okay? But that's fine. The trouble is that means you can't get another sentiment in there. You can't get a happy birthday or whatever you wanted to put on that bottom one. I'm actually going to do it different, just using the sentiment box and the little green layer. So as I say, if you have these or you have spares from the first card, just stamp them off in one of the matching colours that you've got, and you can use them. If you like, you can use them to act as the foot for your easel. If you haven't, or you just want to, or you haven't and you want to use a second sentiment, which is what I'm going to do with this one, just leave those aside and we can put our second sentiment on there. So what I'm going to use, if I can find the stamp set again, we've got "You're Absolutely Amazing" on the front of there. So I'm going to do "Thank you for everything" on this white part. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you for everything. Sort of, they go together really well. So I'll just bring the "Thank you for everything" in. Pop it onto this white box. Just like that. Be careful because that actually had glue on the back. Okay, so now to give the height that you need for a foot, and the reason that I didn't want the glue on the back of there is I want this one to sit up. So I want this one on dimensionals. So I'm just going to add some dimensionals to the back. Now, if you want a really high foot, you can double dimensional. You can put dimensionals on your dimensionals just to make it sit up that even more, just to catch so the card doesn't fall forward. I'm just going to use one lot. And then you put this straight onto the green rectangle. Just make sure it's the right top, bottom, sides. So that height there that we've got, that like dimensional width of height, is actually going to stop our card from falling forwards. So with some glue on the back of that one, we'll put it on the base there. So with easel cards, if you have to sort of work out how high you want the easel to sit. So if you want it to sit really high, you take the foot right back so it stops it from falling forward at all. Or if you want it to sit a bit lower, you bring the foot forward so that it allows it to fall forward a little bit. So I'm just going to pop it there. Okay, so we've got a "Thank you for everything" on there. Now, if you have one of these left, you could probably pot it off to the side there if you wanted to. We could probably do that. That looks quite pretty, actually. So I might do that. I'm sort of creating on the run here. I'm going to do that with the pool party and just use one of these spare ones. So if you've got one spare from the cut ones that I've given you, you can go and use that for this. But as I say, I think it's probably just nice with plain. You could even just write your name, or to such and such from such and such there, because there is actually nowhere else on this card to write, which is what made me think it would probably be better done in a different way, keeping it plain underneath. But I'm going to just go all out. More is definitely more with card making. Okay, so we've got one of the little flowers there. As I say, it's not necessary if you haven't got any spare ones, or you haven't got enough paper, or you just want to leave it plain. Just go whatever you want. I'm just going to pop that one there, just as a little bit of something, a little bit special, a little bit different. Okay, so that's that there. So the process for doing it, if you do have the spares, you do everything the same as I've just done for you there. You put the dimensionals on the back of the white rectangle, you attach it to the green, and then glue it to the card base. But then with these, you actually glue 2 down and put 1 on top like that. So that's how you get the look that we've got here with this one. Okay, but as I said, as soon as I did that one, I thought, hang on, there's a bit too much happening down there. I need to put another sentiment. So this is one. I actually prefer this, but as I say, entirely up to you, depending on whether you've got spare die cuts or enough of the white paper to do it. I'd love to see what you actually decide to do if you want to share in group. Okay, so there we are. And as I say, you've got some rhinestones in your pack, at least you should. Hopefully I've given them to myself. Here they are. And we'll just pop those around the front on this front facing bit here. So just pop those whichever way you like your little rhinestones to go. If you like them in a triangle, or all in a row, entirely up to you. Yeah. Okay, so that's card number 3. So the last one of our class this time round. Hope you liked that one. You can see on my original, I actually did stamp off that cinnamon cider twice before I popped it onto the card. You can see it's a fair bit lighter. So this and this are exactly the same colour, except that's stamped the first time and that's stamped the second time. Okay, so you've got a couple of choices to make with this one as to how you finish it off, whether you go full strength or half strength on the ink, or whether you go full daisy or just a second sentiment like with this one. I think I actually like that one better. But as I say, it depends on whether you've got any of the die cuts left over, if that's what you've bought, or if you've got extra cardstock that you can make the extra daisies. Okay, well, hopefully you enjoy that one. I really like the easel cards. They're something a little bit special, but sort of really, really easy once you get to do a few. Anyway, I hope you like that one. And I hope you enjoyed the whole class this time around. Please let me know if you have any questions or any problems, or if anything's missing from your pack, please let me know. I'd hate to think that I've sent out incomplete packs, incomplete kits. Yes, I'll be happy to send you the stuff if you find that there's anything missing. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope I will see you back for future